Hello, everybody. I'm Ralph Ventry here during a busy week at Northeast Conference headquarters. The athletic directors and senior women administrators will have their winter meetings later on in the week. But first up, the NEC will host an inaugural Mental Health Summit. I have Commissioner Noreen Morris here. She'll give us some details on the summit and tell us exactly how it came about. So my first question for you, Noreen, how did the whole idea develop and come to fruition?
Thanks, Ralph. Actually, about 3 years ago, the Northeast Conference was one of the first conferences to bring in Dr. Hainline to address our membership about issues related to the medical health and safety of our student athletes. And at that time, we focused on concussions from a return to play and return to learn approach. We also talked a little bit about drug testing, and that's also when Dr. Hainline informed us that the NCAA was going to do a deep dive into the mental health issues and try to come up with some best practices that institutions could utilize to make sure that our institutions are providing the best resources and programming available for our student athletes who have some issues with mental health concerns. So at that time, we said, Ms. Dr. Hainline, we'd love for you to share that information with us once it's available. So in January of 2016 is when the NCAA published their best practices guidelines. So at that point, we refocused our education for our membership in this area of mental health, now that we had some more resources available to us. In June of this past year, our first phase was to bring in Dr. Margot Patukian. She's the head team physician at Princeton, but more importantly, a member of the NCAA Mental Health Task Force. So she was one of the many people who helped put together the best practices. So we brought her in for probably a 2-hour presentation and more so interactive dialogue with our membership in June to talk about what were those best practices and what can we do to start implementing those practices on our campuses to benefit our student athletes. So that was our first phase in trying to enhance and to help our institutions provide the services they need for their student athletes.
So now the Mental Health Summit is phase 2, focusing on, of course, the student athlete welfare. What are going to be some of the specific topics that are discussed at the NEC Mental Health Summit?
And we've got a very exciting panel discussion segments ready for tomorrow. So we have 4 different panels. The first is on anxiety, depression, and suicide prevention. As we know, our student athletes and students in general in college have so much more pressure to deal with than we might have had as students. And so the first topic will be on anxiety and depression generally for students, as well as for the issues that the student athletes face in terms of playing time, injuries, pressures of traveling and trying to do all the time management. So that's the first panel. The second panel will be on analgesic opiate abuse, which is obviously something in our society that has become a big problem, and it's something that we feel that our student athletes need to be educated on. But not only our student athletes, all the people who surround our student athletes have to understand the signs and the symptoms of potential abuse happening in that realm. The third panel is going to be focused on eating disorders. And so that is an issue that most people think female eating disorders, but there's actually eating disorders can impact both male and female student athletes. So again, it's education, awareness, and making sure that our institutions understand what type of programming and resources need to be available for those student athletes. And the last session is actually a presentation on how our institutions can work together with the campus community. So using the resources that the campus already has for the general student population to build a program and a systems approach for student athlete mental health programming and education. So we'll have a presentation on how best to organize that type of programming approach. And at the end of the day, we'll have all of our institutions the opportunity to get together. So all the reps from each of our 10 institutions will sit together and start formulating that plan. And how will they put into practice what they've learned through those 4 panels. And they can walk away with some action plans and with some ideas on how they can implement and start the ball rolling to provide the resources the student athletes need in all of the areas that they will have learned about.
So it seems as if a comprehensive program is set for the NEC membership. The inaugural NEC Mental Health Summit, more than 70 individuals will attend this conference in Piscataway, New Jersey. And I'm sure that this is an exciting time for the NEC, and you're thrilled to be able to welcome these folks to New Jersey to continue the educational process on student-athlete welfare.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what you hit on was 70 people from across campus. So we talk a lot about building communities in the NEC. This is a way to build a community within the campus. So we have campus health services folks, we have team physicians, athletic trainers, academic advisors, we have a chaplain coming, we have people from student affairs. So it is really and a family, campus building opportunity here so that we can help the entire campus community, not just focus in and stay insulated in the athletic department.
So an eclectic group is on their way to New Jersey for the first annual summit, December 1st in Piscataway. Thank you for watching NEC Front Row. Until next time.